All right, so the UFC has just literally done the unthinkable just now. They're out here robbing Peter to pay Paul. They robbed us of the big super fight with Valentina versus JJ. They robbed us, the fans. We're Peter. And now they're trying to pay Paul. The funny thing is, we're also Paul. The fans are Peter and Paul. The UFC has snatched the big fight away from us, Valentina Shevchenko versus JJ, just to fill up a main event slot at UFC 230. This fight is not UFC slot main event worthy, to be honest. It's not big enough. This is silly. This is very silly. Shout out to Stamina MC. Shout out to Johnny C. Major. Stamina MC for sure with the most cryptic video request I've ever read in my life. I loved it though for a second. I thought it was going to be good news, but it was not. It was bad news. But anyways, here we are rolling with the video. You know, they ripped this fight away from us, the JJ fight. And I was pumped about seeing this fight. I actually was for just numerous reasons. One, I thought that Valentina, it would be nice to see her go against an opponent who can basically stand up with her. Somebody who's actually on her level, right? I was excited about seeing that. You know, that's why people got excited about seeing her in bantamweight. The bantamweight fights, it was always people on her level, but the flyweight, it's just they're not quite there yet. So, you know, we're excited to see that. And then also, I thought that this was the best way to make the flyweight division legitimate. Legitimize the division by having two credible names fight for the belt. Not Joe Schmo, Nico Montano, who had 7 fights total in her whole life. You know, and now we're out here in these streets. We had to roast Nico. We actually had to put Nico Montano on a spit and roast her off. All because she just wasn't there yet. She really wasn't. She just wasn't a credible opponent. This was going to be that fight that really made flyweight division legitimate. And yet it's being taken away from us so that they can just at least put the belt on the line at UFC 230. And all because Jon Jones and DC because the UFC couldn't agree to money, to paying the fighters what they're worth. I know Jon Jones has popped for everything in the damn illegal substance book, but still, the guy is worth the bread. He actually is worth the bread. If he wants to squander it on drugs, let him do it. I'm so tired of people and their drugs. You want to do drugs? You go and ruin your life. Go and ruin your life and do it. But it's like, it just doesn't make any sense because this is the trickle-down effect. This is the trickle-down effect. It's not just about, it's not just about Jon Jones and DC not being able to come to terms on which weight class they want to fight at, how much money they want to accept, this and that and the next. It's not just that. It's like, what now is going to come down the pike? If they can't make the fight that they want to make, who is going to be the sacrificial lamb? And the sacrificial lamb at the moment is the fans. And it's also a fighter by the name of Sijara Eubanks. This is a horrible narrative for Sijara Eubanks. She will not win this fight. Right? She's not going to win this fight, but she was actually the one standing up saying that she wanted to fight Valentina. She was like, if they gave me the opportunity to fight for this belt, I would fight for it in a heartbeat. They are giving her the opportunity. It is on less than 4 weeks' notice. Valentina's been in a training camp. Now, I know Sijara Eubanks is also training, but she was training for Jessica Ai. There's just something different about Jessica. Jessica Ai's game, like how you game plan for a Jessica Ai, completely different than how you would game plan for a Valentina. The UFC hasn't done anybody any favors at all, period. The sacrificial lamb, Sijara Eubanks. The UFC clearly is not getting behind Sarge. They're clearly not getting behind her. I understand JJ probably didn't want to take the fight on 4 weeks' notice, because that fight was made for UFC 231. Fight was made. So now all of a sudden it's like, because it's moved up a card, JJ can't be on it. She doesn't want to fight short notice. She's not a short notice fighter, and she doesn't want to fight short notice. I'm not going to call that ducking. I think that shit is smart. I really do. I think it's smart. Valentina and JJ, it's not a short notice fight. Valentina has been a short notice fighter before. She has been in there. I believe her debut was on short notice. You know, so it makes sense why Valentina would do it. And this is what I think it might just be happening. I think that Valentina Shevchenko may have volunteered to get into a fight, to go earlier, say, okay, we can be the main event. People are talking about it. People are buzzing about it. And so then the UFC was like, okay, this is a great idea. Let's go with Valentina and JJ for UFC 230. But then JJ probably didn't want the fight on short notice. So then she said, no, I bow out. I'm good. But then UFC was like, well, let's still roll with Valentina. Let's put the belt on the line. If Valentina wins, then I have a feeling that they're still going to offer her JJ before the end of the year. They'll probably still offer her Joanna Jędrzejczyk for the UFC 232 card because I do think that they want to get behind Valentina. I have a feeling that they want I think they wanted Valentina to beat Amanda Nunes. I think they want Valentina Shevchenko to be the champion. And I know for sure that they want her to be a dominant champion. They want her to have some fanfare behind her because she is marketable. She's very marketable. She has the look that they like. And then also she has a sister who does the exact same thing that she does. This dynamic has always been marketable. Sisters, brothers, sisters who fight or brothers who fight or sisters who play tennis or whatever. Brothers who play tennis, father, son who play basketball. The father played basketball. Now the son played. That storyline is just, people love that storyline. The dynamic is just, it's heartwarming, it's nerve-wracking, it's all of these different things, So I know that they want that. They want to have both of those girls being pushed by the UFC and at the top. This might be their way to do it. Because if Valentina goes in there, she's going to wax Sijara Eubanks. We know that. She's going to wax Sijara Eubanks. On 4 weeks' notice, to be honest, all Sarge is going to be able to think about is getting her weight down. That's all that she's going to be able to think about, is getting her weight down, because this is a championship fight, which means you got to make weight. You have to make weight, and you have to make championship weight, 125. This is a head scratcher for real. None of it sounds fair. None of it sounds fair at all. It just doesn't. I mean, I'm not the biggest Sarge fan in the world. It's like I thought that Sarge was going to be fighting Jessica Ai. That wasn't necessarily the greatest fight. I actually wanted to see Sarge fight Chikagian. I thought that was going to be a really good fight, but it's like, now they've thrown her in there with Val. What is the UFC thinking? When they could have just upped Nate Diaz and Dustin Poirier. They've been selling the fight by making UFC the enemy. They've been selling the fight. All over Twitter, they're selling the fight. I'm just shocked. I'm really shocked that they did this. I could go on and on about it, but it is what it is at the moment. The UFC is just out here still playing these high school ass games, these childish games. Oh, let's put a belt on the card and that'll make it sell. Nobody cares about those belts. Not even the fighters care about the belts. Not even the UFC cares about the belts. There's a man by the name of Conor McGregor who currently has no belts. But what did the UFC do? They said, get Conor his belts. Get him his belts. So he took pictures with his belts, and Khabib had to take pictures with his one belt. The UFC doesn't care about belts. The fighters don't care about belts. I really don't give a damn about a belt. I want to see a fight. When I see a dominant champion, yes, I do love me a good dominant champion. The cyborgs, the Noons, the JJs, the dominant champs, the Joneses back in the day, John Jones, Jose Aldo. Who else? It's just, there was just a time when it was like, okay, when you're champion, GSP. Oh, I can't believe I forgot about GSP. Tyron Woodley. When you see these guys run through the division, yes, that's fun to watch. And then the belt really starts to mean something. But these belts have been crapped on so much and taken as a joke so much that it is a joke. It is a joke. So shocked with the UFC's decision. They've robbed Peter to pay Paul, which means they've robbed the fans to pay the fans. But they're paying us pennies on the dollar. And I'm not having it. I'm really not down with this. I'm happy to see Valentina get in there and get a fight, but this is some bullshit. This is just... ugh. Anyways, guys, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts in the comment section.